Good morning students, in this video we are going to discuss everything about John Dryden. Before beginning, if you are new to this channel, then don't forget to subscribe this channel for regular updates on how to prepare for the examination in the subject English Literature. Without any further delay, let's begin this topic. John Dryden was a poet as well as a dramatist. As a poet, he stood on the third place just after John Milton and John Donne, and as a dramatist, here also John Dryden stood at the third position after William Shakespeare and Ben Jonson. He was also a translator and translated Homer, Horace, Ovid, and above everything else, his masterpiece, the translation of Virgil's Aeneid. In his mock heroic satire, FLECKNOE, he attacked his contemporary Thomas Shadwell and associated him with the Richard FLECKNOE, who was also a poet, and this Richard FLECKNOE was attacked by Andrew Marvell in his works. John Dryden too disliked Richard FLECKNOE. That's why he associated him with his contemporary Thomas Shadwell. Some of the other famous satires and poems by John Dryden includes The Medal, Absalom and Achitophel, Annus, Mirabilis, Religio Leci, The Hind and the Panther, and The Alexander Feast. In these two works, Religio Leci and The Hind and the Panther, John Dryden defended the Puritans and the Anglican Church against the Catholic Church. The Hind represents the Catholic Church, while the Panther represents Anglican Church. John Dryden was a Puritan, and his work Religio Leci is also a defense of Anglican Church against Catholic Church. Talking about drama written by John Dryden, his best heroic play is Conquest of Granada, his tragicomedy Don Sebastian, and his tragedy All for Love is the greatest tragedy of the Restoration Age. He is the man who established heroic couplet as a standard form of English poetry by writing satires, epilogues, fables, etc. Alexander Pope was highly impressed by John Dryden's work, and he too borrowed the John Dryden's heroic couplet in writing his own satires. William Wordsworth admired Alexander Feast, while John Keats enjoyed reading the fables very much. Every writer was so much inspired from him, including the writer of First English Dictionary, that is Samuel Johnson. But later, Matthew Arnold, T.S. Eliot, William Empson dismissed him as a great poet and preferred other writers. For instance, T.S. Eliot said that John Dryden was a poet of commonplace mind, where Matthew Arnold hailed George Saintbury about John Dryden. William Empson, the author of famous The 7 Types of Ambiguity, preferred reading John Donne rather than reading John Dryden. On one hand, there were a lot of writers and poets who admired John Dryden, while there were many critics who dismissed him as one of the greatest poets produced by England. Born in a Puritan family in 1631, John Dryden received a good education as a child. He was taunted by writers and many religious personalities for changing the sides for political gains. On the death of Oliver Cromwell in 1658, John Dryden published a work titled Heroic Stanza. And just after that, when King Charles II came into power, he published 2 works to gain his favors. The first one is Astra Redux, and the second one is Panegyric to His Sacred Majesty. It made his contemporary to think that John Dryden has written all these works just for gaining the political favors, and this made all the contemporaries and religious personalities to attack John Dryden. After the Great Fire of London 1666, everyone in England lost their hope and thought that it is the end of the world. But just after that, John Dryden wrote a work, Annus Mirabilis, in 1667 and gave hope to all the citizens of England. The work was cherished in London and whole England, and the next year in 1668, John Dryden was appointed as the first poet laureate of England. He was not just a poet, dramatist or translator, but also he was a great critic. His most popular work, Essay of Dramatic Poesy, made him the father of English criticism. Essay of Dramatic Poesy is developed through 4 interlocutors, Eugenius, Crites, Neander and Lycidius. Here, Neander represents John Dryden himself, which means new man. And through the character Neander, he justified how English drama is better than ancient and French drama. This work on dramatic poesy was published in 1668, the same year when he was appointed as a poet laureate of England. In 1688, when William of Orange came into power, John Dryden retired from his political career and took writing as a full-time career for living. On April 30, 1700, John Dryden died at the age of 69. So here we come to the end of John Dryden's works. I hope you found this video worth of your time. And in the description below, I have linked to the playlist where I am going to share everything about the writers. So don't forget to check out the playlist in the description below. Also, if you have not subscribed to this channel, don't forget to subscribe it. That's it for this video. Thank you.